So this video is going to be focused on how to set up your app, your Flutter app, so that you can deploy it to Firebase hosting. So here is a very simple Flutter app that when you run it on, let's say, so this is building it for the web. So running it on the web. This is what it would look like running on the web. There we go. So it's the very simple Flutter app that you get when you create a Flutter app from scratch. So this doesn't have any custom plugins added. So you do have to keep in mind that when you do add a plugin, so when you go ahead and you add another plugin in here, you have to make sure that that plugin will support the target platforms that you want. So let's say, for example, you look at PubDev, which is where all the components are. And let's say you want the file picker. And you would say, okay, I want to pick this one called the file picker. And you can see here, it supports Android, iOS, and web. And those maybe are the only three platforms that you care about. So as long as you see these three or the targets that you want, then this plugin should be sufficient for you. But let's say that you have this application and you can also run it on the iOS or Android, but now you want to deploy this web application to a website that you want your users or testers to see. So I'm going to explain how to set that up. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to go to console Firebase google.com, and then we're going to create a project. So I'm going to call this, let's see, Firebase, Firebase test app. I'm just going to call it the same thing that I called my Flutter application here. And I'm going to set this up here. Let's say, create this project. And I'm going to just say I'm going to use my default account. And I will create this project here.
Please subscribe to this channel and like this video to support this kind of work.
Okay, now that the Flutter project has been created, this is what the dashboard for the Flutter project will look like. And for this particular project, we haven't done the iOS or Android yet, but we're going to first set up the web portion, and we're going to call this, just a nickname. So we're going to call this Firebase test app. And here we're going to say Firebase hosting. We're going to also set that up here. And we're going to then decide on the name of the website we want. So I'm going to call it Firebase test app. Hopefully, okay, it's not available, but I'm going to just call it, let's see, test app. Let's see, comp course. Let me see if that's available. Nope, not available. How about this comp course? Is that available? Okay, that one seems available. So we're going to register that. And that's going to be part of our website URL. So just keep that in mind. This is just some instructions on how you would set this up if you were building your Firebase project with Node.js, but we're not using Node.js. So we're going to just ignore this part for now. And then what we're going to do is we're going to make sure that our machine has this installed on for command line tools. And since I already have it installed, I'm just going to invoke this just so that you can see what the installation looks like. So I'm going to run it like this. This does assume that you have Node.js installed on this machine. So just a few little warnings, but otherwise it is pretty much installed. So since I already have this installed, so that when I just type Firebase, it should give me a list of commands that I can execute. So you can see here, so forth. Okay. So what I'm going to do here is now that I have this installed, go back to the instructions, and we're going to go to the next step. So um, just going back to the previous step here. So to get an npm, you just need to go say install nodeJS on Mac. And once you download and install this on your computer, so for a Mac, or you could say Windows, and then you want to install it, then you run this installer, and after you install it, you will be able to invoke this command of npm. And then after that we've done that, we're going to do Firebase login and then Firebase init. And we're going to do that within our project here. So we come back over here to our Flutter project, and I will type in Firebase login. It's just asking some instructions about Firebase CLI and the MCP. This is an optional feature, so you can just say whatever you want. I'll just say yes. And then here it says it's about collecting data for error reporting and usage, and this is also optional for you. So I'm going to take this URL here, copy this URL, and put it into this browser. So I'm going to pick my Concourse account, let the CLI tool be able to log in. It says I'm logged in, so should be able to close this now. Now if I come back over here, it says, yes, you are successfully logged in. Now if you go back to our instructions here, we say Firebase init. So I'm going to say Firebase init. So now it says you're about to initialize my Firebase project in this directory. So we're going to pick the option that we want, and I'm going to pick the app hosting that enables web app deployments to web app hosting. So that is what we want. I'm sorry, we're going to do app, not app hosting, but hosting here. Okay. So make sure it's selected, hit enter. And then here I'm going to say, do I want to use an existing project or create a project? So I'm going to say we're going to use an existing project because we already created one on the Firebase console. If we didn't create the Firebase project already, then you can select create a new project. So I'm going to say use an existing project, and you can see here that this is the one that we created recently. I'm going to select that. And then here it says, what do you want to use as your public directory? So I'm going to say, based on how Flutter generates the build, it is going to be build/web. So this is the contents of my build/web in my Flutter project is where the generated web files are located. So I'm going to say build/web. And it says configure it as a single page app. Yes. So I say yes. And set up for automatic builds and deploys. Say no, I'm not interested in that right now. So now it is initialized. Okay. So now here, if I just say Flutter build web, we're going to build our Flutter app for the web. And now here I can say Firebase. If I say Firebase projects list, it will list all the projects that are associated with this account. And you can see there's only one. So then that's the one I want. And it's currently the one that says selected or current. So now I'm going to say Firebase deploy. It's going to actually pick up all the files for the web and then deploy this to the public accessible website. So now you can see that it is accessible from this website. So if I press the command key or the control key if I'm on Windows and I click on here, I can open up this website. And here we go. This is our website running on a website that should be visible to just about anybody in the world.